Jennifer Powell, the owner and head injector at Powell Studio in Hanover, Mass. I am here again today to have a quick conversation with you about inflammation. For everybody who has been tuning in and watching all of our podcasts, thank you so much for your support and for these continued questions. Remember, you can find all of the episodes on our website at www.thepowellstudio.com. We have them on all of the areas that you can stream podcasts as well. So if you search PS with Jen, it will pop up in there. But thank you again for sending in questions and driving the conversation. I had been so excited to bring PS with Jen to fruition because I was having all of these really fun conversations in the room, and I would find out that clients were having trouble reciprocating the information, or sharing it with their friends, and they would be like, Jen, can you please just remind me what we were talking about? I couldn't remember all the details. So this has been a nice opportunity to share everything that's living up in my brain, to share the conversations that are happening in my room, because I know that the people that are bringing them up are not alone with their curiosity or with their questions, and I look forward to keeping the conversation going. So remember to ask more questions on the website. There's a link there where you can submit any questions you may have. I'm having so much fun with this, and I didn't realize how much fun it would be. So let's get started. Today we're going to talk about chronic inflammation, and this is something I'm passionate about because it is what ages us. So when we research about all the things aging and aging in reverse, managing inflammation in our bodies is something that is so important. And we can do this on a number of levels. And I think because most of us are so busy that we don't realize that sometimes the quick fix isn't the answer, but the consistency of what we can do on a daily basis, sometimes through skincare, or sometimes through diet, sometimes through exercise, supplements, IV hydration. There's so many different variables. There's so many different opportunities out there, and it can be confusing and overwhelming. So one beautiful piece about the Powell Studios offerings is our wellness program. And so this is something that I was so excited to stuff into all of the stockings of my family to try and dive deeper for answers I wish I had a million years ago. So it wasn't until in between my fourth and fifth child that I started noticing some eczema on my hands and some swelling that I didn't have before, maybe some aches and pains that I associated with weight gain through pregnancy and fatigue from working the night shift, and never really slowed down to really get to the root cause of what else might be going on. Maybe because I had carried 5 children that, I was deficient in certain things, or how was my gut doing? And, none of these questions really triggered me to think about these conversations because I didn't know any better. I was living what was the norm for me, and I didn't realize that there was opportunity out there to really actually function in an optimal level. We're supposed to go to work and be our best self and give to everybody, and when we get busy, it's so easy to step back on our own self-care and our own routine. And I know in here, I'm always telling people, you can't go to the gym 3 times and make it last. And showing up for yourself in little ways each day is so important. And I know for myself, for 2 years, I was on day 1. And we're so quick to badger ourselves. And I try and remind myself to talk to myself like I would to one of my friends, because I would never, ever talk down to one of my friends the way I had put pressure on myself to be perfect and to make sure everything was, exactly how it should be instead of living. And so when we have opportunities to make good choices, maybe things are not perfect, but each day, more often than not, you are making good choices about what inflammation you're going to introduce into your daily activities. And so this comes from a variety of things, like how do you handle stress if you have a stressful situation? Coming to the thought process of, is my stress going to actually change anything? Is this going to make anything worse or better if I stress to this level? And not to say that that's always easy, but it is something that I try and think about as far as minimizing the inflammation and stressing out my thyroid and killing my adrenals and really doing a number on my whole ability to cope, my whole body feeling that elevated stress is is going to make me feel older really quickly if I continue in that space. So it was nice to be able to give myself a break and say, you know what, I actually know that nothing is going to be better if I stress about it this way, and this is what's in my control, so I'm going to focus on that instead of all the things that I'm not positive about. So through deep breathing and through meditation, I've been able to really zone in my thinking, which has been really helpful. I don't know if you guys have any recommendations or suggestions of things that you love to minimize inflammation in your body. I would love for you to share with me, DM me. I can continue to add those, but I'm going to drop some of the things that I have used in my space that I've had success with, and some of them I'm pretty surprised that I even enjoy. So we've talked about, stress is going to come out in many forms. So sometimes it's going to be in an event that's happening in life. Sometimes it's foods we're introducing into our body. So in this lovely US of A, we are with the quick convenience of fast food everywhere and eating out and socializing in restaurants with alcohol and additives and extra salts and huge portions, and being able to make healthy choices is tricky sometimes. And so I try and always introduce as much fresh opportunity of, farm raised is not something that I want to have. I want fresh caught wild fish. I want meats that are organic. If they're given antibiotics or hormones, you are what you eat. And so we are breaking down any healthy bacteria we have in our gut, and we're eating meats that are exposing us to a weakened immune system, because our gut is our biggest brain. People think, oh, your smarts are up here, but really your stomach is where all your neurotransmitters are, and all of your mood is stabilized, and all of your stress response is stabilized through the gut. When you have something in my gut is telling me it's off, listen to it. It knows what it's talking about. And so when you are introducing all this inflammation into the gut, you're going to have a weakened gut lining, and you're going to have things like dysbiosis or leaky gut. I know that that's a popular trendy term, and it is a real problem, because when we have leaky gut, we have low absorption rate. We don't absorb the foods that we are eating that are going to give us important nutrients to be our optimal self. And so when we go to the doctors and we have labs, they tell us, oh, these are within normal limits. But know that your within normal limits, more often than not, is on the bottom end of low. So it's not low to raise red flags, but when you do not have your levels in your labs at the optimal end, you're pulling from something else in the body to overcompensate for that. And so we have all these stressors that are going to come to fruition, whether it be through foods that we eat, or lotions and potions we put on our body, or exposure at work with some of the products, whether you are an oil delivery person, or you're exposed to different fumes at work, or you are using different chemicals to clean. And I always tell people, be careful, wearing gloves to protect yourself. Your skin is your biggest absorber, and our liver is working really hard to help you to excrete some of these toxins that are put into our system, but it gets really tired. And this is a ripple effect of the liver is sluggish, and then our gut is sluggish, and our digestion is off, and we're not absorbing, and we end up with this fatigue that we're trying to understand what the heck is going on with us. It wasn't like this before, but over time your body is slowly but surely had chronic inflammation that we didn't notice abruptly, because it's been slow and steady, and the change is something that we were used to because it was happening to us day to day and not abruptly an acute situation. But over time we've started to have more inflammation in the gut. We have the possibility of low absorption of important nutrients like vitamin Bs, all your Bs, B2, B6, B8, B12, B9. All of these things are helping as antioxidants to flush out some of these toxins, to support the thyroid, to support brain clarity, to support your energy levels and metabolism. And so when your vitamin B is really low, then this is an issue. We talk about vitamin D. D in the East Coast is really hard to be low, and we have such a short period of time of sun exposure, and we're all working inside, and are having low exposures of natural vitamin D. So what are some other ways we can supplement? Think about your supplements when you are trying to support getting back on track to an optimal level. My vitamin D is 19. It's supposed to be 60. So they're going to give you a range of vitamin D being normal at 20 and then 60 being optimal. I want to be optimal. I want to be optimal because I know that my mood is going to be better. My ability for bone reabsorption is going to be less of a concern. I'm going to have so many other lower risks of cancers and autoimmune if my vitamin D is at the optimal level, and I'm not going to be stressing out another part of the body because I am with this low vitamin D level. Why are you with low vitamin B, low vitamin D? Well, I had, low gut absorption. So I want to talk about, as you realize what you have for stressors on the body. I specifically had food allergies. And so when I'm able to remove those food allergies and I'm able to do a healing process with my gut, I will then be able to have more absorption. But in the meantime, that takes time, months, maybe a year, depending on how much disruption you've had. I have used IV hydration and IM injections of the vitamins in order to have 100% absorption. And so that has been a gift to be able to be more knowledgeable about the importance of, we're going to be exposed to things that create inflammation. We're going to be exposed to our daily lives. You have to live, but you need to balance out how much stress you're putting on the body. And when you can have things that are antioxidants, your warm lemon water with a pinch of pink Himalayan salt, your vitamin Bs and making sure your D is there. Are you getting enough vitamin C? Glutathione is a beautiful, beautiful support system and an antioxidant. These are all ways that I support flushing out the toxins and cleansing my liver and having optimal energy. And people say all the time, Jen, how do you do all of this? Really, that IV hydration and making sure that those levels are where they're supposed to be are my lifesaver. They make me feel incredible. My energy is so high, and I can always wake up with, feeling like I can take on the world each day instead of sluggish and dragging like I used to. And it's exhausting because you're feeling defeated. I know for a year I had cut out dairy and gluten because that was the big recommendation. Well, and not until I did my testing I realize, okay, I also have allergies to dairy and gluten and yeast. So for a whole year I made enormous sacrifice cutting out dairy and gluten to the best of my ability, feeling defeated because I wasn't losing weight. I still felt terrible. And remember, if you haven't listened to previous episodes, I discussed previously, my allergies were not close your throat, I need an EpiPen. Those are IgE allergies. IgG allergies are something where your body throws out your military. So think of your body's immune system is supposed to be only there to fight or flight when there's something really bad going on. Well, if your body is inflamed and stressed all the time because you're constantly exposing it to something that is aggravating it, you're constantly in this stress mode. So I was eating eggs all the time because I had cut out dairy and gluten, and I was having wine because it was supposed to be healthy. And so I didn't realize that I was killing myself slowly and just further worsening my symptoms. And I was so frustrated because who cuts out dairy and gluten for a whole year and still doesn't feel good? It's just completely unfair. And this lab testing has been so incredible because it's super simple. I had a genetic test, which is an oral swab. I had my allergy testing, which is a finger poke. And I had cellular testing, which told me, is there yeast overgrowth in my gut? Is my microbiome, out of balance? And how much cellular change in my body has happened. When you have injury, whether you're sick or you got COVID or you had surgery, anesthesia, you had a traumatic life event, the loss of a family member, anything, your cells in your body are going to be exposed to, I call it a hit. It is injury. And those cells, they don't flush out unless you are using things that are antioxidants in your food or in your IV hydration or in your supplements. And minimizing stress, flushing out those toxins are so important. A lot of us are jumping right back into work and getting back onto our very busy schedules, and we're not giving the body the optimal support it needs in order to recover. And so you have these leftover cells hanging out in there, and you can only have so many cells. So even though your body's trying to regenerate new healthy ones, it is not going to be able to, because these ones that are with the hit that I refer to, with the injury, they're in the way. So with the support of IV hydration at Paul's Studio, you can definitely flush all of these out and get them out of the way. You can have a big liver cleanse. You can support thyroid function, metabolism, energy, brain clarity. But that detoxification really supports having all of these new healthy cells. And when they're optimal, when they haven't been injured, they are less likely to turn into things like autoimmune disease and diabetes and MS and Alzheimer's. These are all really prominent things in our world, and no one's really understanding what's happening. And when I do a treatment at Paul's Studio, I'm always saying, my screening questions: have you had any recent dental work? Are you getting any vaccinations? Do you have other things going on that are going to have the ability to require healing? We want one thing healing at a time, because your body has to work so hard to heal, but it is capable. It is always able to heal you. And there are simple ways that we can, on a day-to-day basis, support the healing process, minimizing inflammation and really making sure that we're giving it everything that it needs in order to be healthy and whole and prevent disease and prevent, having outcomes that we're not desiring. I am teaching about whole health and educating about different ways in order to minimize inflammation and increase, your body's ability to function and heal on a day-to-day basis. And I'm learning myself too. So let's recap about some things that we have talked about in this chronic inflammation. We think about inflammation. I think about inflammation in the skin. When I see skin's inflamed, I'm thinking about, I see rosacea, I see acne, I see rapid aging, some substantial wrinkles and fine lines. I see, all of these things that are conditions that require some support of minimizing inflammation. And at Paul's Studio, we have an opportunity for you to have treatments that are supported with ZO Skin Health. We precondition everybody. We're going to minimize inflammation by controlling sebum, and we're going to support the barrier function in your skin by having a ZO protocol. And you only need, a few steps in order to obtain this. And a skincare consultation is always the way to get started. When I think about inflammation internally, we think about cardiovascular. We need to support, low stress and our cardiovascular support. A lot of times people are wanting to do a heavy, crazy workout. And so when you are needing that to support de-stressing, you're more often than not giving the body enough time to heal from that workout. And so I know my oldest, when she would work out, she wanted to do this intense HIIT workout that was an hour long, but her genetic testing came back saying that she had oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress, if you've ever heard of it, is like rusting on the inside of the body. And so because there was such a high level of stress in her body, she would go and do this workout. It would be less supportive of her body doing what she was wanting it to do, is be healthy and build muscle and be strong. It would be the opposite. So she would run into problems of feeling fatigued and sluggish and upset stomach and aches and pains and just not feeling like she thought she should with the efforts she was making. So with her genetic testing, I was able to tell her, you can enjoy those workouts, but you need to give yourself an opportunity to have rest and reprieve in between so that you can flush out this stress that's happening in the body. That oxidative stress, again, is supported with your bees, is supported with IV hydration, is supported with lemon water, is supported with supplements for liver detoxification. You are able to still do those workouts, but they can't be your only workout. When you have chronic inflammation in the body, there's no way that weight management can be something your body is prioritizing. And that's what I had come to realize personally, is the inflammation that I was carrying on a day-to-day basis by exposing myself to foods that my body was allergic to. It was always inflamed. So there was no point in time where my body's like, oh, let me focus on fat loss because I need to focus on healing from this inflammation as I'm continuously exposing it to these foods. So having this knowledge and being able to cut these foods out made it so much easier to manage the inflammation and to manage. My symptoms were congestion, they were achy joints, it was some belly pain and bloating and migraines, which on occasion has also led to vertigo, which was terrible to deal with. I didn't have any idea what the heck was going on. Just thought I was overtired or, you know, run down, but I didn't realize it was from these food allergies. So I have implemented the genetic testing, implemented the allergy testing, and implemented the cellular health so that we have all of the information that you need in order to live daily and make a healthy choice where you can go out with friends and you don't feel like you're going to mess something up or you're going to eat the wrong thing or this day is a wash because you messed up and you did something wrong. These are different opportunities for you to say, oh, I know that X, Y, and Z isn't in my best interest, but on the menu here, you know, they have this and this, and I can have that, and I can socialize, and I can feel like I'm living, and I can be included. I don't feel left out, and there's always an opportunity to make a better choice that supports daily living and daily minimized inflammation so that you can feel better. I know I'm seeing a shift in what people are doing to hang out with friends, and instead of it being, you know, restaurants and drinks, it's things that are more like a sauna and cold plunge. These are some opportunities that I have recently tried, and I'm loving going to a Face and Body Studio in Marshfield, and Soul Sauna is, you know, a networking opportunity that I'm so excited to partner with and have them coming here so that we can do their cycle of cold plunge and sauna to minimize inflammation. And having a cold plunge myself, this is something I never imagined enjoying. I hate the cold. My fingers get cold quick, my toes get cold quick. I do not love the cold, but I have never felt stronger than when I have done a 3-minute cold plunge in 42-degree weather. There's something about it that brings clarity to your brain, that brings warmth to your gut, improved digestion. Your whole self is clear. There is no distraction. There is minimal inflammation, and you are burning so many calories, and I've just never felt stronger. So that is something that I always am telling people about because I was overwhelmed and I'm craving more of a cold plunge and to be doing it more frequently. So this is something that I personally have been saving up for so I can have one at home and I can enjoy it. If you have a good cold plunge, please do let me know. Message me and tell me which one you love. I'm in between a couple. I've been doing lots of research based on friends who have enjoyed them and the ones I've tried and trying to figure out what will work best. I personally want mine to be inside. I am not going on the deck to enjoy my cold plunge. And iceless is really important for me. All of you that are jumping in a barrel full of ice, my hat's off to you. You're amazing. So I hope that this is helpful information. I'm just rambling off and sharing with you some opportunities that I have found to be really helpful in my overall health and well-being. I want to live a long time. I want to be optimal. I hear so often from some of my clients like, oh, well, you're in your 50s, you know, they go to their primary care and these are the responses they're getting from general health care is like, well, you know, it's about that age. No, you can be your healthiest version of yourself. Why are we just giving up because we've hit a certain age and we're supposed to fall into a category? Supporting hormonal balances is important, and that's a whole different conversation, a whole different specialty. My passion and my drive is about chronic inflammation, is about gut health and allergy testing, and managing that. And so I love to refer out for the hormonal balancing and have that support where someone can directly, support you in getting those under control, because it is another piece of the pie. We need to worry about our bone density. We need to worry about muscle mass. We need to be burning calories and staying strong and healthy. Once you have got to a point where you feel like you're under construction, correction is so much more work than prevention. So I would have given anything to have had this genetic testing and my allergy testing and all of these tools for my cellular testing so many years ago. And I would have done things so differently when I was carrying babies and when I was working in the emergency room and I was, having life events that created high stress. My responses would have been so different had I known what they were doing to my body for the long term. and that I had control over managing how I responded. It didn't matter what someone else was doing. I needed to know what worked for me. And if you've been someone who has tried all of the things that have worked for your friends and been discouraged about what you had tried and maybe it didn't work for you, and you're really getting pulled into the quick fix options of weight loss supplements or different medications or surgeries, these all require support as well. And so unfortunately, I wish I could tell you that there was a quick fix about healing and giving your body what it needs. It's not. It's slow and steady. It's consistency. It is having the tools in your toolbox, the knowledge that you need to know what is your individual self in need of. How can I prevent, things that I am more vulnerable to because of my genetic makeup? And what are some of the things that are in our daily routines that are actually making us sick? I love the Yuka app. So this is no plug. I'm not being supported in any way, shape, or form, but YUKA comes up as a carrot on your app. Scanning away, and please use it with caution because you could cut out almost everything in life, but you need to live. So I love to use it because it will give you an opportunity to see what better options are. I'm going to use one example. My kids were begging for dino nuggies, and here I am buying the organic nuggets and making sure that they have the healthiest of option. Well, lo and behold, dino nuggies are healthier than my organic ones that I was buying. So it gives you an opportunity to understand what actual ingredients are in there. If you're going to use processed foods, if you're going to have them as part of your daily intake, then you need to understand what ingredients are in there, because there's a lot of preservatives, there's a lot of extra added chemicals and food dyes that are not allowed in other countries, but they are FDA approved here with the ability for us to intake them and to have our bodies working hard to figure out what the heck to do with them, because we don't need them. They're poisons and they create inflammation. And we can support our kids being their healthiest version of themselves, eating as much, lean protein and healthy fruits and vegetables. And I know my Will and I have grown a garden at home this summer. It's been such a fun project. I don't know about you, but my thumbs have been black for many years. So the fact that this is growing and it is thriving, my husband was so kind to find us. I didn't want to use a lot of the plant foods because they also have a bunch of chemicals in them, and I'm like, okay, if I'm growing my food from the beginning with these chemicals, then I'm eating those chemicals, and that didn't feel great to me. So he found this opportunity to support the nitrates it needs with opening up a tea bag and pouring it into hot water and adding a quarter cup of oats. So you soak that for at least an hour. And when you are done soaking that, you'll strain out the tea grains and the oats, and you will pour that over your vegetables or fruits or whatever you're growing once every 3 weeks. So it has been life-saving. Our vegetables are going crazy, and my Will can't wait to sell them at his stand because we're definitely going to have a surplus. But everything we've had so far, I ate a salad the other day with a radish he grew me. It was delicious, and it's fresh, and it's whole. So we went fishing this summer and took a fishing trip and caught bass and filleted it and grilled it and ate it. I've never had bass, but it doesn't get fresher than that. So when you have an opportunity to take advantage of what's available in your surroundings, going to your local farmers market. Here in Hanover, they have one on Saturdays. There's one in Marshfield, one on the South Shore. So fortunate to have so many locally sourced opportunities for farm to table, and there's so many restaurants. Live Cuisine, for example, is one of my favorites, where I know that I'm going to get delicious food that is thoughtfully prepared because of their knowledge around celiac disease and gluten and dairy intolerances. I have loved being able to support them while they support a lot of locally sourced foods coming into their restaurant to create their delicious meals. So I hope that this was helpful. I would love for any questions to come in. I can absolutely support you. Knowing that a consultation, if you're curious about learning more about inflammation, is an option. We have consultations for skin health. We have consultations for the wellness program. And all of these are available online, or if you want to call the office, you can schedule there. But if this information was helpful, or you have a friend who has been, frustrated and sharing these similar complaints that I have addressed here, share this information with them. It's so exciting for me to share some of the tools that I have gained, like the Yuka app or sauna or cold plunge, or maybe taking the, yoga opportunity instead of the intense workout to give my body that rest and reprieve, but to also meet the needs of needing that body movement. Knowing exactly how I can support minimizing inflammation in my body for me as an individual has been game changing. I feel so much better, and I am grateful every day to have these tools in my pocket. So sharing them with you has been an awesome opportunity today, and I love this topic. I'm sure there'll be more episodes to come. Until we meet again, I hope you have a wonderful day, and you can catch this episode on our website, share and like, and stay tuned for more.